Hey guys, Chris here with the Good Old Gamer. So once again, it's E3 time, so there's a lot to talk about. In AMD's E3 conference, there was a lot to unpack there. I really wanted to focus in on the NAVI information because, well, that's what most of us were really wanting to see out of that. So I wanted to get that video out to you guys as quickly as possible. Now, some of the reaction that I'm seeing on that video is quite interesting. It's really funny that a lot of people out there, they're really trying to defend AMD's position to propel themselves into a whole new price bracket. You know, basically stop being looked at as the budget brand. I say this is ironic because I was the first person to talk about this. This video over here, it's about 2 weeks ago that I did this. So you're actually using my own arguments against me. Now, it's not so much an argument, it's just the fact that that's what they're doing. And I kind of wanted to warn people about that. But it doesn't mean that it's okay. And that's what I want to talk about in this video. Just because AMD is trying to make more money and that's good for them as a business does not mean you as a consumer, somebody who is supposed to buy these things, does not mean that this is okay for you. And I'm going to go over some of the hard numbers and show you why today's announcement pissed me off. Just for a little context, about 8 months ago when the RTX cards launched, I did this video right here, which is basically just saying, yeah, these are dead. And then same thing with the RTX 2070. Is it already DOA? And I was talking about its price to performance. Very similar to what I was talking about in my video earlier today. I don't have double standards for both Nvidia and AMD. I hold them both to the same standard. Just because one does something bad and then the other one says, screw it, I'll do the same thing, that means they're both at fault. Doesn't mean one's okay because the other one did it first. Now, I went ahead and actually averaged out the performance gains on the 5700 XT compared to the RTX 2070. So using AMD's own numbers, it's coming in at about 5.8% faster. It's okay, I mean, it's respectable, but this is barely outside of what I would consider margin for error. Steve over at Hardware Unbox puts 5% at margin of error. And I'd say that's fair because 5% is basically negligible. So if you were to say that these are basically the same, that would be correct. Now the 5700, this is actually far more impressive at 9.5% faster than the RTX 2070. But that's until we put things into perspective. You see, the RTX 2060, while it only has 6 gigabytes of VRAM, AMD definitely does have the leg up there, coming in at $349. So this is 8.6% lower than the Radeon 5700. So you gain 9.5%, but it costs you 8.5% more. So you're really only gaining 1%. So that's really nothing spectacular. The 5700 XT does come in at a lower price point, about 10% lower. So that's about a 15-16% gain over basically their competition. So that's at least somewhat reasonable. But then again, we're comparing it to Nvidia and their already inflated prices. Remember when the RTX 2070 launched, we compared it to the GTX 1080 because they were priced pretty much the same. $499, $499. Now, a lot of people will say this was $599, which is true. They did go up to $599, but there were $499 RTX 2070s at launch. Launch day, you could buy them for $500. Because nobody bought them, they were actually available at that price. Just for reference, the RTX 2070s today are coming in at about $480. But anyway, so looking at these guys right here, we see that it was 7% faster than the card that it was replacing. That was a mammoth disappointment. Anything less than 30% for the same price, generation to generation, is a failure. So costing the exact same price as its competition, its main competition was another Nvidia card at $499, and it's only 7% faster. So this card was a complete and utter failure. Now, the RTX 2060 did fare a little bit better. Now, unfortunately, Steve doesn't have a comparison directly with the GTX 1070, which I would say is its main replacement, but we do have the Vega 56, and it's coming in 7% faster while being 13% cheaper. So it's about 20% better overall. And that's the reason why everybody thought the RTX 2070 looked so good, because we only got 7% gain on the 2070. The 20% overall gain on the RTX 2060, that is looking really good, but it's still awful. this card is still 10% away from where it would need to be considered a decent generation-to-generation upgrade. So even this was terrible. And this is the reason why I'm saying these cards are not really worth it. Those cards came out, by the time that these launch, the 2070 will be 9 months old, and the 2060 will be about 6 months old already. So that generation's already almost done. We're about halfway through this generation. So overall, the Radeon cards really aren't changing the narrative here, guys. It's a little bit better, but not much. And the cards that it's competing against were pretty bad to begin with to absolutely awful. So just being better than absolutely awful and pretty bad is not something I would really be bragging about. Now then, I get it. I mean, I know there's a lot of people out there. I'm the one that made the arguments. AMD is going to charge more. They're trying to get rid of the stigma that they are the budget brand, that they're second tier. That's probably one of the biggest things that they're trying to get rid of. I've even pointed out when AMD did try to sell their GPUs for lower prices, they just can't do it. They just couldn't create market share. So like I said, I really do understand why a lot of people out there feel that this is a good move for them, and it is. This is a great move for AMD as a company. The company AMD, this is a smart move. If you're a shareholder, this is a good move. They're going to make more money and more profits. That's a good thing. Now, as a consumer, you have to stop thinking for the business first, because if AMD went out of business, I wouldn't shed a tear. I don't care if they are in business or not, especially not that they're figuring out that margins are more important than going ahead and building their base up. As a consumer, they're just not delivering anything any good. And just because Nvidia delivered crap doesn't mean we should say, well, you know, what they're delivering is slightly better, so we should be happy about that. Well, yeah, in some ways, in some bastardized way, yeah, you should be happy that you're getting a little bit more for a little bit less. But that's the same argument they made for the RTX 2060. And I didn't fall for that then, and I'm not going to fall for this now. We're looking at mid-range GPUs at $400 plus. We've seen this with Nvidia this generation, and we're now seeing it with AMD. It is disgusting that the PC gaming market is being relegated from mainstream is now 400 plus. And as I pointed out in the last video, AMD looks at their CPU lineup, anything below the $300 mark, as non-gaming and pretty much irrelevant. When they were talking about the Ryzen 5s, the guy almost felt sad for the people. I mean, watch that video. It's really hilarious. But it was not enthusiasm there. It was just like, I'm so sorry that you have to buy a Ryzen 5. And I'm just like, geez, guy, it's great. You're getting a 12-core CPU. I'm good for you. But most people don't need that. And most people will be just fine on a Ryzen 5. Treat it for what it is. This is what most gamers are going to buy. If you really think about it, AMD is not going for value anymore. And like I said, as a company, that's a good thing. And this may help their brand strengthen to a degree. But you only have 2 GPU manufacturers. You only have 2 CPU manufacturers. So if both of them are going for the premium tier, what's left? And that's really what it comes down to. What's left as a consumer? Because I'm not spending this money on this level of performance. I need second from the top. So 2080 Ti level performance to even consider spending $500 on a video card. There's just no way I'm spending that kind of money on second or third tier stuff that they're trying to sell us now. And this is both of them. They all want to be premium brands. But when there's only 2 companies, you can't both be the premium brand. And Nvidia right now has the technology. They're competing with your brand new 7 nanometer tech with their 12 nanometer tech. So anyway, on a more cheery note, AMD did announce their 16-core, 32-thread AM4 CPU here today, the 3950X. I went over that in a video yesterday. I'll put links to that in the description below. It's pretty much what I was expecting. Price-wise, I thought it would be $699. Looks like it's coming out at $749, which, granted, they could definitely charge that. That is a premium product. You can't get that from anybody else at that price. So it's actually still a good value, even though it costs a lot of money. So that's why AMD is doing well on the CPU side, because even if their CPUs aren't as budget friendly as people would like, they're still the absolute best option, unquestioned. Definitely the best option. Their entire Ryzen 3000 series crushes it at every single price point. This is just simply not something you can say about NAVI. And they don't have the technology there. They have a lot of cool features that they're rolling out, but until they're tested out and verified, just like DLSS and ray tracing and all that stuff, until people get it in their hands and actually see it, and then if it actually makes a difference, that's when I will say that that's useful. So until then, features I'm not that interested in. I'm just going off of the base performance. And let's face it, I mean, we're basically stuck in a market where everybody wants to be premium. And when mainstream GPUs are $400 plus, for me, that's a bad thing. And if you think the company taking care of themselves is more important than you taking care of yourself and consumers watching after their own wallets, well, I can't help you. I've been telling you for a long time to pay attention to you. Who cares if these guys go out of business? I don't. I don't care if all three of them go out of business and there's no more PC gaming. To me, that's better than people being taken advantage of. But that's my opinion. Anyways, let me know what you guys think down in the comments section below. I just keep getting fired up every time I think about this because it sucks when you have Apple competing with Apple, and if there was no other competition, if there was no Microsoft and all we had was Apple computers, what world is that a good thing? I think that that's the best analogy right there. If Apple was competing with oranges and they charge the same prices and it's the same thing, what's the point? What's the point? Anyways, let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. If you liked the video, please hit that like button. Please subscribe. Please share with friends. Please go ahead and look after yourselves. That's really the message of this. Take care of yourself. Don't be taken in by these companies. Don't let them keep raising prices on you. Just stop buying the stuff. Personally, I'm just going to stick to used, secondhand, old stuff. I might just give up on newer games entirely. I'm at that point where it's just not worth it anymore. But that's just me. Take care of yourself. You guys have a great night. I'll catch you guys in the next video.